Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Show and Tell. My name is Aisha Bash. I'm a cloud advocate at Microsoft, and today I have my colleague Lee again with me. Hi, Lee. How are you doing?
Hi, Aisha. How are you? So, as Aisha said, we're both cloud advocates at Microsoft, and we've been working with a group of students from across our Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador programs, building some really interesting and exciting capstone projects. We'd have today with us a group of student ambassadors who've been working together as a team to build a solution, which is a code sample and full solution to allow you to actually walk through and develop your own solution. So, here's the team.
Yeah, welcome, everyone. We're super excited to have you here. So, before we jump into your exciting projects, can you introduce yourself so we get to know you a little bit?
Hello everyone. Thank you so much, Aika and Lee, for having us on this show. My name is Someleze Diko, but mostly my friends call me Diko. I'm a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, and I'm also a United Nations Peace Ambassador, which is also a media director at ArtPeace. Mostly what I do for fun, which I can mention, is developing solutions using the Power Platform alongside my friends Hemantika and Ansh.
Hello everyone, my name is Ansh Mishra. I'm currently a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador and I'm a pre-final year student at Manipal University. I love to code, I'm a tech enthusiast and my bigger aim is to build a product that would solve some real world problem and would eventually help the community. And I really had lots of fun in this project working with Deco, Hemantika and Aditya.
Hi everyone, thank you Isa and Lee for the lovely opportunity, and also thank you to my team for coming together and building this awesome solution. I'm Hemantika Mitra. I have been a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador for a year and a half, and right now I am working at Microsoft as a support engineer supporting the Outlook or Exchange team. And while I have been a student ambassador, I have been heavily involved in low code development, and I love to call myself a power addict. So that's all about me. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So we have super talented student ambassadors with us. We want to hear more about their solutions. So can you tell us why you built this project initially? First of all, what is your project? And second of all, why you built this project? What was the problem and why you wanted to solve that problem?
So the main solution that we have provided is the end-to-end low-code solution for the QnA Teams bot that was built by me, Someleze, Aditya, and Hemantika. Now I'll be talking more about the solution. So basically, the problem that we have solved with this project is that sometimes, when you're building bots, the main problem that the developer has is addition of QnA pairs to the knowledge base. Now, with the solution that we have proposed, easy addition of QnA pair by admins is made very much possible. Now, just imagine you have entered a community and you're completely clueless. You don't know where to go, what to do, and you don't even have 24/7 support. But what if we ensure that there's 24/7 support? There's a bot that can actually solve any doubt you have, that can actually clear any problem you're facing. And just imagine a community that would add so much value to the community. Now, we shall be talking about the requirements for this project. So, we have basically built a bot. So, our primary requirement is to have a Q&A bot. Basically, if you ask any question to the bot, it will give a prompt answer within seconds. And the best part is that it is available 24/7. Now, in order to fetch the question and answer pairs from the bot, we require a knowledge base. A knowledge base is basically the store for all question and answers, all kind of queries you have. For example, if I have a query right now, am I enjoying this session? The answer is yes. So if I ask the bot the question, am I enjoying this session? The bot would say yes. So basically, all the question and answer pairs are stored in the knowledge base. Now, to make this conversational flow, to make that user interaction between that bot and the user, to get that conversational flow, we use Power Platform. The Power Platform enables a smooth conversational flow so that we can easily interact with the bot and get our queries solved.
So before we jump into the tech part, and since you describe all this to us, what sort of questions in general this bot is helping us? I understood that it works 24/7, which is great if we have any specific questions, but what is the specific capabilities this bot can help us?
Okay, so I can talk about my personal experience. For example, when I joined Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador community as an alpha ambassador, I always had to ping the beta ambassadors or the gold ambassadors to ask
Oh, yeah.
some queries related to the program. And sometimes they would be available, sometimes they would not be available. So with this solution, we are aiming to provide quick answers to the queries related to the Microsoft Educators program so that students don't have to get into a lot of hassle into asking questions from mentors or from different ambassadors. So basically, it's a one-stop solution for all the doubts and queries you have regarding the educators program.
So this is actually your expert person, go-to person when you have questions about the student ambassador program, or this can be actually implemented in any area, and this bot can be an expert in any area, basically, right? This is great. Lee, actually, we do this all the time at Microsoft. We always ping our colleagues about stuff, and sometimes we have time zone issues when I'm located in Dubai, and when I ping someone in US, then it might be midnight for them. So having this bot would fix a lot of issues in our company too. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. So, one of the big advantage of this is the Q&A maker service. So the solution works on what is called a question and answer pair. So if you're running clubs, societies, organizations, you probably have lots of knowledge bases already in your organization, whether it's a Word document, a PDF, a website, or even a database. So what this allows you to do is actually build a Q&A system from that knowledge base. So we're starting here with an empty data schema, but again, that could be a populated data schema. And the whole solution will walk you through building that solution out and actually creating a system that allows you to add a new knowledge, questions, and answers to populate those questions that are unknown at the time of asking. So it's a great solution.
Awesome. So should we dive into the tech part, how you build the solution and see more details about it?
Sure. So I'll be redirecting it to Deco. He'll be just making us go through the tech part of the solution.
Yeah, thanks, Ansh. So, not to get too technical about how we built the solution, but we have to look at it and we need to know what we actually need and what we actually built. So, what we did for the solution is that we had a Microsoft 365 developer account that enabled us to be able to create a SharePoint site that will have our custom list. If you see on the screen, that custom list will act as an intermediary between our knowledge base from the Q&A maker service and also the Power App, as you see on the screen, that the admin would use to update that knowledge base. And then again to mention is that we carried on and created a Q&A maker service that would allow us to be able to store our knowledge base using the Q&A maker.ai platform. And also now to actually do that is that our custom list will take all of the information that is in there that was populated by the admin. For an example, if you're an admin on your solution, you populate that information, and then our Q&A maker service with its knowledge base will store that new information. But how did we do that to take all of the information from SharePoint to the knowledge base? So that's when our Power Automate flow came in, where we used that Power Automate flow to send an HTTP request, for an example, that will, whenever an item is created in SharePoint, it takes the information of that item and it sends it to our knowledge base. Again, our solution didn't really stop there. It carried on to meet the needs of, like Ansh mentioned, and also Lee and Aika had already mentioned, that whenever they need to ask questions and they need answers to those questions, they need to pop a message on Teams. So we went ahead and created an adaptive card that will pop up whenever a certain mention or the mention of our bot is mentioned on a Teams channel, and then the user, or let's say for an example, Lee or Hemantika would then pop a question on that adaptive card, and then that adaptive card will trigger a flow. That flow will go and query to the knowledge base that I just spoke about and look for that specific question and come back with another adaptive card that will post the answer within the Teams channel. We then furthered to the part where we're talking about the admin again. Like I said, we needed a power app that will allow the admin to actually pop the question and the answer to the knowledge base. And through that, we use the Power Automate flow as mentioned that will take that information from SharePoint and then we'll send it to our knowledge base. So I'm sure all of this is a bit confusing and you're excited to actually see how it actually works. So we might show you a demo if you're feeling generous.
Yes,
Yeah, we'd love to
let's
see a
see the
demo.
solution. Exactly. And I wonder, do you use this solution in Learn Ambassador program currently, or is it something coming up soon?
So this is actually coming
We
up
can say it's
soon.
something
There's
that's
going
coming
to
up
be
soon.
Yeah, there's going to be an interesting thing that's happening with one of our tech communities where this solution will be utilized. So, yeah, there is a use of this by Microsoft.
Yeah, awesome. We definitely want to hear more how to utilize this solution. And I guess this might be really useful for other student clubs or other communities available publicly. Actually, they can definitely leverage from this. Let's see the demo.
Thanks, Ansh. So we have the teams that you see on Teams. It's the different teams that we're part of within the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassadors program. And we created our own team where we wanted to do some testing. Obviously, when you build a solution, you need to test it to know if it works or not. So I'll just go on and go out on our team, which is Power Apps Demo, which is very ironic for me. On the general channel, so again, for this specific solution, it doesn't matter which channel, as long as you will have a specific channel that is dedicated to answering the questions that are coming from either Aika or coming from Lee or Hemantika. So let me just show you how it works. So as I mentioned, I'll click on new conversation, obviously, because I want to ask a new question. As I mentioned, this bot works as whenever a person or the name of the bot is mentioned on the Microsoft Teams channel, and then it will pop up that adaptive card. But currently, the name of the bot is Somelezedigo, which is me. I don't know if that would be weird to see. So let me go on ahead and just add mention myself. And then when I click on send, a Power Automate flow in the background is just running to actually pop the adaptive card. As you can see, it's saying ask your question here. So you can provide your queries here. This is when Aika or Lee they pop in their question, or maybe someone in the audience and watching this video, they want to know how to sign up, let's say for an example, for a specific community like the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassadors program. So if they pop a question and say, how do I sign up? This, if I click on submit, this would then go back to our Power Automate flow. Will tell you that please wait for a response because obviously you asked your question. Now you just don't know what's happening. And then afterwards, it'll pop a question and say, hi, with your name and tell you what your answer is. So the idea with the add mention or the specific name is that what if you had a busy channel where everyone is just coming in and they're popping their questions, and now whenever the bot is answering the questions, they don't know which answers are which questions are being answered. So we use this at mention to answer that specific user and come off with that specific answer to the question. So currently, this is the answer to the question that Spani had asked the bot, and it tells them that they can review the options that would work better for them using a link. And then what the bot does after answering the question it would then go and private message the person who asked the question, obviously. And if I go to either the chat or the activity, you will see that you have a message that is coming from Power Automate. So the idea behind this is that we're trying to get information back from the user, or the bot is trying to get information from the user and is asking whether your question was answered, whether the question was not answered. So in this case, I can say yes. And then in a case where the question was not answered properly, which I will pop another question again on the bot. In a case where the question is not answered properly, the bot would then ask the user to actually input their question so that it can be sent to the admin, which Ansh is going to be showing you right after this. So if I add mention myself again and I send the message to the bot, it'll come back with that adaptive card again, and I ask the question, who is Aika? And then I click on submit. Obviously it won't come with an answer, because obviously there's no answer for that specific question. So if we go back to the activity or the chat, you'll see that the Power Automate has, the bot itself has sent that poll again, whether the question was answered or not. Now in this case, I'll say no, sadly. So sorry, Aika. And I click on no, and then I'd have to add the question and say, who is Aika? In which now Ansh will show you, as the admin, will show you what happens with the admin. Oh yes, yes, I got ahead, which is I have to post the question again. I ask who is Aika, then I click on submit. This would then send an email to the admin so that the admin can update our knowledge base with the specific information. Again, it gives you feedback where you have to, if you're looking for more information on the program, for an example, it'll give you a link, and then you can click on that link and visit that specific site. So that is how it works when the bot is interacting with the person like me or Hemantika, and they're asking questions about the program, or they're asking questions about anything based on whatever your requirements were when you're building the solution. So I'm just going to hand it over to Ansh if you guys don't have any questions, and it will show you how the admin actually gets the email to update with the new question that was posted by the user where they didn't get a response from the bot.
That's great. So you
A
actually
great
build a
detail.
feedback loop as well. Not only you just provide some sort of questions, but
Yes.
you get feedback from the community. If they want to learn about something else, you can update it. I guess Anish is going to show us now how to do it. Another thing I realized is I guess you're using characteristics in the Q&A maker. So your bot can answer some questions like how old are you, or which color you
Yes.
like, or who is your manager, and so on, which is another great feature I like about Q&A maker.
Yes. Thanks, Aika.
So as Deco shared with us a question that was not present in the knowledge base initially, now I'll show you how as an admin I can add that question to the knowledge base. So since Deco was not satisfied with the answer, he said no on the poll, and now I have gotten a mail being the admin of the SharePoint. Now it says that there's an unanswered question. Please reply and update an answer. So I click on this link over here. Now this will basically redirect me to the SharePoint list. I'll just quickly log into my account. It's loading. Okay. So as you all can see, the SharePoint list has been opened and the question, who is Aika, has been automatically been added to the SharePoint list. Now I'll just enter the response to this. Aika is a Microsoft employee. So as you can see, this question has been asked, who is Aika, and the response, Aika is a Microsoft employee, has been automatically stored in the knowledge base. Now, for example, if I get another question that needs to be answered, then what shall I do? So as an admin, I'll move on to Power Apps. In the Power Apps, I'll click on Microsoft Learn for Education, and it's loading. So what this will basically do is this will basically add a Q&A pair that I feel that needs to be answered and is not present in the knowledge base. So I'll type in a question. So the question is, how's the session going? This is the question. How's the session going? And the answer would be, it's awesome. We are really enjoying what we are learning. And by learning, we can actually share it with others. So the session is going awesome. And now what we're going to do is we're going to update the Q&A pair. Now, how do we know that the question and answer pair has been updated in the knowledge base? So for that, we'll again hop onto the knowledge base, our SharePoint list, which is this, and until it's loading, we'll go at the bottom quickly, we'll hop onto it, and we can see that the question, how is the session going? It's awesome has been added, and also the original question, which was asked by user, who is Aika? Aika is a Microsoft employee, has been added. So in this way, what it does is that the Power Apps creates an HTTP request that edits or requests change in the SharePoint list. So this is how efficient the app is.
That sounds great. So, what I understood from the presentation is that you basically connect the Q&A maker and you do all the question setup in the SharePoint list. So you don't have to go to QnA Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. So as an admin, I don't need to worry about going to QnAmaker.ai. With the help of Power Automate, we have been able to create a flow that automatically takes care of the changes that have been made to the SharePoint list. With a simple click of a button, with simple addition or editing of items, or if you want to add a question or if you want to edit an item, it will simply reflect on the SharePoint list.
That's great.
Yeah, so that's really the secret sauce of this solution as such. So, any changes which are made either from the Power App or from the SharePoint list, a Power Automate solution is invoked, which then updates the Q&A bot. So it doesn't matter where the information is coming from, the Q&A bot is always updated. And again, that's really rapid. So, if someone asks a question, as soon as that change is made, the update is made, and the next person who asks the question will actually get a valid response. And again, this is what's really good about that solution, which is scalable. So I think the team now wants to take us through a solution overview of how they've, what the steps involved in creating this solution.
Right, so I'll take it over from here, and I think that whoever just watched this recording would love to recreate this, maybe on your organization or institution or the community that you run. And I'm hopeful that you love the demo as well. So if you really want to recreate that, I would ask you to stay tuned till the end because we have some resources for you as well. But let us begin and show you some overview and get deeper into the technicalities of how we build things and how we have used the Power Platform, how we have used M365 and brought all of this together and have finally developed a production ready solution with absolutely no code. So what you see here is the first and the foremost part, which is to create a knowledge base. So in the demo, we have seen that it is a knowledge base that is getting us the answers. It's a knowledge base where we add the Q&A pair, and everything around it is basically moves around the knowledge base. And so for the knowledge base, we have had thoughts about what suits the best and what should we opt for to have our knowledge base as. So for this, the clear winner was SharePoint list, and we cannot ignore the fact that whenever we think of a solution, we keep in mind the security and also how easy it is for the members to go ahead and make any additions or deletions. So the answer to that is SharePoint list. So what we clearly need to do is we need to have a SharePoint. Let's say we need to have it log into an environment, and then we need to have a site, and within that we create a list that has the question and answer pair. And it's as simple as adding question and answers to an Excel. And once that is done, we'll move on to the next slide and see what we have in store. Yeah. So now we have a knowledge base ready. The next part is to create a Q&A maker, and after that we'll see how we can link the Q&A maker and the SharePoint list, and those next steps will be taken over by Dico and Ansh. So I'll cover how we went ahead and created Q&A maker. So this is a great solution by Microsoft by which we can have a bot service up and running in a few minutes. All that we need to do is we can have M365 accounts. So for those who are new here, you can sign up and have your free account get started in 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 a moment. And once you do that, we go into QnAmaker.ai, sign in there, and it's as simple as few clicks. Once we do that, we fill in the necessary details, and like Aisha, you mentioned that there are some additions to it, like what is your favorite color. So we wanted the conversational AI to follow the the methodology of a chit chat. And we can go ahead to Q&A maker, and we can choose if we want a bot to have those dialogues conversational type, or we can choose that to be professional chit chat, and that depends upon what the use case we are trying to solve. So for this particular example, we chose chit chat, and then we filled in other necessary details like the pricing tier, and some other details like the knowledge base. But for our scenario, knowledge base was filled in by Power Automate, which we will go forward in the next steps. So this was all about the first two and the major steps, that is to get the data source or the knowledge base ready, and the second was to have a Q&A maker service. Now, once that is done, we'll see how we can bind them together, and I would love to call Deco to explain the next steps.
Thanks, Semantica, so much. Again, as Semantica said, we needed a SharePoint list, and if I can say, SharePoint is one of my favorite data sources to use in the Power Platform. So the next step actually here, which is step 3, is updating the knowledge base. So that step could be confusing in terms of we have a SharePoint list that we call as our knowledge base, but what does that mean that we need to update the knowledge base? So currently, when you saw the demo and our solution, that specific bot and the adaptive cards and the answers that we were getting are not approximately actually sitting where the bot is querying it from SharePoint, but it's querying it from the knowledge base from QnA.ai platform, which is what Hemantika has just mentioned. So how do we make the knowledge base in QnA.ai platform and SharePoint speak together in terms of whenever we update something in SharePoint, it needs to be updated on the knowledge base in QnA.ai. So we have to create a conversational flow with Power Automate. Again, Power Automate is a major player in the solution. So when you look at this specific flow, it has to have a trigger when a question is either created or it's modified. So in a case where you saw Ansh was changing or was inputting the answer to the question that was not answered, which was who is Aika, the moment he edited that part, the Power Automate flow was triggered and it moved on to the next step. It would then take the edited item, push it up to the knowledge base. But how does it do that? So within the Power Automate flow, we have an action that is called an HTTP request. That HTTP request uses one of the methods, if I get too technical about it, one of the methods called patch, which actually patches all of the information or the QnA pair that we actually got from SharePoint when it was edited or when it was created. It patches up to the knowledge base on that QnAmaker.ai platform. So now that you have the entire Power Automate flow running where you have the step when an item is created on SharePoint or it's modified, and then your next step would move on to using an HTTP request to actually push those new QnA pairs or the edited ones to our knowledge base. The next step would be to ask ourselves a question where how does the admin play into this? So again, as Ansh has shown you, is that we use a power app that actually helps the admin to just add that new Q&A pairs without having any confusion. Again, we had mentioned something about Excel, not that we're trying to throw shade to Excel, but using an Excel spreadsheet and you trying to make a Q&A pair could be very tedious and it could get very confusing very fast. So what do I mean by that is that you on a cell for an example where you have a column for questions and you have a column for answers, and then you put the wrong answer on the wrong question. So now you have that knowledge base messed up, and you don't know how to correct it other than by just creating a different spreadsheet starting from scratch. So that's where the Power App actually comes in and helps our admin with just updating that specific question with that specific answer. So if we head over looking at step 4 for our solution, when Ansh actually moves on to the next slide, you will see how we actually got to integrate the bot with Microsoft Teams. So again, I had mentioned that on Teams, on that Teams channel that I showed you on the demo, is that I had mentioned myself. So I mentioned myself in that specific channel so that I can be able to call the bot and the adaptive card so that the user can post a question. So again, like I said, this solution uses adaptive cards, and the adaptive cards help us to to take the questions from the user, post them, and go query our knowledge base. Again, when you're querying the knowledge base with that specific question, we are using an HTTP request, if again I get too technical about it, and we query the knowledge base in QnA Maker.ai platform. We create the knowledge base with that specific question, and then again we use another adaptive card when that question is found. We use the adaptive card to post an answer to that specific question. So again, our solution when it comes to this part, when we're integrating it with MS Teams, is that whenever that bot or the admin is at mentioned in the channel using the at mention trigger on our flow, then our bot would then post an adaptive card and wait for a response from the user, meaning that when it posted that adaptive card, you saw it waited for me to post the question. And then after the user has asked the question, the flow then carries on querying our knowledge base using HTTP request and then comes back with that answer and posts it using another adaptive card to the user. And that is how our solution actually works when it comes to integrating it with MS Teams.
That's awesome. It's really interesting to
That's a
see
great overview, Deco. Yeah.
exactly how you connect all these technologies together using Power Platform is really impressive. And I guess you don't have to, as an admin, you don't have to go into QnA Maker itself, and developer will handle all the QnA Maker part. And that's where we have SharePoint lists where admin just can go and handle everything from there. This is inspiring. So I think this scenario fits in many different places. And one thing I can think of is definitely the student ambassador program. When you have a lot of questions and community can improve and populate more questions over the time, which is great. We definitely love the community build knowledge bases. Not only admin can populate hundreds of questions, but community can improve the bot itself over the time with their own questions, which is really inspiring. So I have one more question, but before that, I guess we have one missing part that you want to go through. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I would just like to reiterate on the point that has been mentioned about the additional features of this solution. This solution takes into account the customer satisfaction as well. As we already demoed, there's an additional poll in case you have asked the question and there's no answer. And if you are not satisfied with the answer, you can respond no, and that question will be sent. It will be redirected to the admin so that admin can take care of it and can actually answer that question. In this way, customer satisfaction is taken into account, and this is what something that makes the solution unique.
That's great. Okay, yeah. I guess poll feature is really good too, in my opinion. Getting feedback from the community, from people who are actually using the bot itself is really important. So I have one question missing. Let's say that I want to reuse this entire solution myself. Is the solution open source? Can we find more information somewhere else?
Definitely. So in the next slide that I shall be presenting, we have the resources available for the solution. The resources are available on GitHub. As we can see, there's a GitHub profile where you can directly download the code and you can use it at your own pace, at your own convenience. We also have the Microsoft Educator Developer blog. The links are present over here. You can use these blogs to just go through the entire solution, how things are built, what technicalities have been involved so that you can make a solution optimal. You might even consider customizing it. So all the details have been mentioned in the GitHub repository as well as the Microsoft Educator Developer blog. Thank you.
Awesome. So, Lee, I know that you're working with a lot of student groups, institutes. So, I'm sure you're seeing a lot more examples like this, brilliant solutions. Do you want to say something about it?
Yeah, so as you said, we're working with a group of many ambassadors out there. And again, there is a link to the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassadors. So we are looking for students across the globe to join the groups. And part of the groups is having these things called leagues. And leagues are really specialist groups where we work around certain technologies. So we have a league for emerging technologies. We have a league for IoT, AI, ML. We also have a league for low code, no code, and this is where these ambassadors have come from. And we do these really exciting projects where the teams work for 6 to 12 weeks, building out these capstone projects, the code samples. And, what's really good about this is, these students hadn't really met each other before this. They got to work with a diverse group of individuals from across the globe. We've got three different individuals on the call here today, and all from different countries or different regions. And again, that creates a community within the ambassadors group. But also, it's a great showcase for the students for their resumes. They can go to that job interview and say, "Oh, I'm part of the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassadors," or "I've been doing a capstone project, and this is what I've built. Go and look at the repo, look at the blog." So again, our final resource is Microsoft Learn. So Microsoft Learn is a set of tutorials, examples, and labs which allow you to go through and learn how to use these tools and services. So we have dedicated things on Power Platform, Microsoft M365 development, all the way through to our apps and infrastructure. So again, it's a great resource for learners, students, educators, trainers who just want to get started on their Microsoft journey.
And if I'm not mistaken, in Learn, there is a filter for students. Like there are some specific courses built for students. If you're a beginner, or if you're a student, if you want to jump into technology from scratch, you can basically go to Learn and choose that filter for students or for beginner, and you can learn everything from scratch. I guess all of these student ambassadors, and including myself, we learn whatever we learned so far from these resources, Microsoft Docs and Learn. Just make sure that you leverage from all these good available Learn paths and modules. With that, I would like to thank everyone who presented this great presentation solution with us. And thanks everyone for watching this video. This is all from us, and see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.